Kyle Shanahan appeared with Tim Kawakami of The Athletic on his podcast. Here's a little from Kyle talking about quarterback philosophy, and we'll react to it on the other side.
I do laugh at that everyone thinks that they know exactly what I want on quarterback because I thought we had a chance to get the number one free agent quarterback who was going to be on the market in our second year. And since we did, people just assume that's how I would draw it up, which if you draw it up, obviously you're going to give the guy everything. I do believe that you have to be able to win from the pocket in this league as a quarterback or it'll catch up from you. But holy cow, if you can run, it makes playing from the pocket a lot easier because those defenses are going to change and stuff.
Kyle Shanahan's been coaching the NFL long enough for those of us who pay attention to it to know what he wanted in a quarterback before Trey Lance. What he wanted was a guy who would run his offense like a robot and operate from the pocket, not improvise, not start, doing anything other than what Kyle wanted him to do. We've known that.
Right.
So it is a break. It is a change. That's why you thought he was going for Mac Jones. That's why others thought it. Mac Jones fits the profile that had developed over 20 years of what Kyle Shanahan is looking for in a quarterback. So, yes, that's why I think it's odd for him to say, I laugh when people think they know what I want in a quarterback. We do know what you want in a quarterback, and it's typically not a guy who's going to run and take off when he's still waiting for the play that was called to develop, Chris.
No, that's right. I mean, hey, it's Jimmy Garoppolo. It's Kirk Cousins. It's Matt Schaub. It's Matt Ryan. It's that type of guy that was in his history. But obviously, my assessment of my friend and what he wanted at quarterback and the things he liked has changed. And you see here, here's some quarterback stats for you. Running the football. Yeah, there's been zero threat of that the last 2 years as far as at the position of quarterback, anybody stressing the defense with their legs at all. They're pocket quarterbacks. Jimmy Garoppolo especially. He is less than the modern day athlete at the quarterback position. He's less than average as far as that's concerned. But I think with a guy like Shanahan, who's always looking for new ways to be cutting edge on the offensive side of the ball, whether it's, again, I think, hey, Mahomes and seeing what he can do, ad-libbing plays outside the pocket, doing that type of stuff. We talked about the Josh Allen and some of the quotes that came out of San Francisco after they played him this past year. I think maybe that was the start of this cycle of maybe a different Shanahan thought process on the offensive side of the ball. And, I've heard him say a few quotes already since he's drafted him, just, the running quarterback, what it could do for his offense. It's a lot like what I think we're going to see with Sean Payton. I think they're looking at it right now going, wait, I'm really smart, and I've always been able to dice people up with the normal running game and the normal passing game. But what if I got a guy that does both? What am I going to be able to do? What am I going to stumble upon that it's also going to give me other advantages of unintended consequences? And I think that's where Shanahan's excited right now, is that he could add an element to his offense that the league maybe is not quite used to right now.
It's impossible to ignore what we've seen with the quarterbacks who can do the off-schedule thing, who can turn a bad play into a good play by improvising. The two plays, the play that's called and the play the quarterback comes up with when the play that's called goes to hell. Kirk Cousins is the prime example of a guy who can't do anything. Sorry, it's true.
Yeah, it's true,
Can't
Mike.
do anything when the play that's called goes to hell.
Yeah.
He can run the play that's called as long as it doesn't go to hell.
Right.
If it goes to hell, it's done. May as well just throw it straight into the ground at that point. But when you see what Patrick Mahomes can do, the guy that Kyle Shanahan didn't even bother to evaluate because he thought he was getting Kirk Cousins a year later in free agency, I think that's one of the reasons why, if he did go into this process wanting Mac Jones and was talked out of it by someone in the organization, Patrick Mahomes' game film would be the thing that would tend to do it, especially Patrick Mahomes' game film from Super Bowl 54.
Yeah,
Difference
right.
between Mahomes and Garoppolo.
Right.
That's you want another Garoppolo, we should be looking at a guy who can be another Mahomes, and that's the difference between Jones and Lance potentially.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. There's that potential there. Now, what's different and what to me is going to be really interesting and a lot of pressure here on the 49ers with the Trey Lance thing and everything you're talking about and I'm talking about is, again, whether how much you like Mahomes or Josh Allen or some of these quarterbacks that came out in the draft and things like that, we didn't really question their throwing at all, right? And I know people question Josh Allen's accuracy and things like that. And you've heard my defense of all that, playing up there in Wyoming.
His receivers stunk.
Everything. The offensive line was as bad as any I've seen of these top quarterbacks in the last 5 years. Everything was bad. So nothing was going to be easy for him. But the point is, at least for me, and I think a lot of people evaluating quarterbacks in football, with some of these quarterbacks we're talking about extending plays, there was never questions about their ability or inability to throw the football and do some of those things. Trey Lance, there is. Like we've talked about, we haven't seen a 2-minute drill in his college career. We haven't seen him have to play in a game where you go, your right arm's going to have to win it today. Not our North Dakota great running scheme, and you're running and doing those things. You're going to have to drop back 45 times and dice somebody up. He's never had to do that. And see, those are things that, I didn't question about those other guys we're talking about. And so that's the last piece of the puzzle here is, yes, I think the running can be really good. I'm not going to say it's Lamar Jackson good or anything like that. But, yeah, the passing, there's questions. There definitely is. And that to me is going to be the million-dollar question. Yeah, the running's good, but will he be able to take advantage of everything within the pocket like Shanahan's talking about to really take his game to the next level?
I just think all this confusion and uncertainty traces back to the message that is necessarily sent when in late March a team trades from 12 to 3, giving up 2 extra first-round picks and a third-round pick to do it, and not knowing what they're doing it for, supposedly. We're going up to 3. We know we're going to have the board in our control after Trevor Lawrence goes to Jacksonville and Zach Wilson goes to the Jets. And worst case scenario is they don't, and we get one of those guys. And we'll take one of those guys. We'll be thrilled to get one of those guys. It's what the Jets did when they moved to number 3 in 2018. They were content to take the third quarterback on their list.
That's right.
The Jets knew who their third quarterback was. They knew 1, 2, 3 which way they'd go. The 49ers didn't. Okay, Lawrence, Wilson, and we'll figure out who number 3 is. That, to me, look.
Yeah, it's weird. I would
too. They could have stayed. They could have stayed at 12 and maybe gotten Trey Lance or Mac Jones. One of them would have been there.
One of them would have been there. There's no doubt. I mean, maybe somebody trades up, right? If they were at 7 or 8, we've talked about Washington and things like that. Maybe, But then again, if you're the 49ers and you are sitting there at 12, you can adjust on the fly and do that. Listen, I mean, yeah, you talk to anybody in the NFL who knows anyone. It sounds like the representation for Trey Lance had no idea where he was going to get drafted if the 49ers didn't take him at 3. There was concern of wait, we don't know. We don't have a team that we really know is in it for him or wants to draft him or do any of that. So, yeah, with those things, you connect dots and you go, yeah, he most likely could have been there at 12, or he might have been there at 7 or 8, and you wouldn't have to trade 3 first-round picks to go up and get him there at that point either. So, yes, that's something they're going to have to live with, and that's going to be part of this package and story of this whole Trey Lance draft pick.
I'm thinking back to some of the quotes from the aftermath of the trade, and I got the sense that there was a high degree of relief in the organization that they knew where they were going to be and they could quit worrying about that. And I can't help but wonder now, did they make the trade when they did just because they didn't think they'd be able to hold it together for another month while they waited for the draft and waited to see, do we have to trade to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? Where do we go? What do we have to do? You're paying a premium just to be in position where you have the luxury of evaluating Justin Fields, Trey Lance, and Mac Jones. That's a lot to give up. And I don't know whether they didn't think this through or whether they just got freaked out by passing on Patrick Mahomes, passing on Tom Brady when he wanted to come play for the 49ers last year, and they just wanted to be done with this. The whole thing is odd to me. And then you throw in the possibility that Jimmy Garoppolo isn't going to be traded or cut, that he is going to be the week 1 starter. If he does stay healthy and play well all year, then you got an even bigger mess. It just feels like this is a mess that's got the chance to become a huge mess for the 49ers. And it's as unique as what's going on with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
It is a
in
little
that
bit. You're right.
I don't think we've ever seen anything like this before.
No, you're right. It is different. I can't think of like a scenario like this. This many draft picks to trade up to get, a guy at 3, not really proven yet, raw, but we gave up all these picks to get a guy that's kind of raw and unproven. And we got a quarterback here who's quarterbacked this team that's in a Super Bowl window, and he's actually taken them to the Super Bowl and had a chance to win the football game. You're right. I mean, this has the makings of being a soap opera. That's for sure. It does. And I don't know where it goes. And then you add into the fact of, like, we're talking about a quarterback who you traded 3 first-round picks to get to number 3, and he didn't play football last year. He played 1 game, and I can just tell you from my standpoint, that 1 game, again, and I don't overjudge. That 1 game would have been scary enough for me not to take him at number 3. I can say that and feel very confident about it. That's no disrespect. I hope Trey Lance proves me wrong. You know that. I'm rooting for the 49ers. I'm rooting for Kyle Shanahan. We know that. But, yeah, that would have scared the death out of me. And now we're talking about what? He's going to sit on the bench maybe behind Jimmy Garoppolo for another year? That's where it's like I would want to say to my buddy, like, hey, man, if he's close, just go with him. Play him. You'll figure out how to run the ball with him and take care of him. And I saw you do it with RG3 and all of that. And that Washington team wasn't as good as that 49ers team you got right now. So if Trey Lance can handle the offense and can play a little bit, I'd go. Go time. Let's see what he's got and get him out there, get him playing football. You can't let him sit on the bench for another year, at least in my opinion.
I keep going back to the common denominator for the dysfunction in Green Bay, the dysfunction in San Francisco, the dysfunction with the Rams where they dumped Jared Goff for Matthew Stafford, the dysfunction with the Seahawks. It all traces back to Tom Brady.
It's all Brady and Mahomes-ish. It's all right. Brady and Mahomes-ish, like to your point.
And you mentioned the Super Bowl that Jimmy Garoppolo started for the 49ers, that they were winning, and then they fell behind, and then Emmanuel Sanders was open, and Jimmy Garoppolo missed him. This quote from Tom Brady from the Super Bowl pregame show on Westwood One with Jim Gray of Garoppolo. He's got a great opportunity to go out there today and prove it. That's when you really get to see whether someone's capable or not. That was Tom Brady before Super Bowl 54.
Yeah.
And what did he prove every step of the way in the 2020 season as the 49ers saw it and realized, oh, crap, we could have had that guy this year.
Yeah.
I really do think that Brady's success in his first year with the Buccaneers has broken the brains of multiple NFL front offices and also empowered quarterbacks in a way that's creating these situations we can look at and say it's unprecedented. Green Bay, unprecedented. 49ers, unprecedented. Rams, unprecedented. All because of Brady.
Definitely a huge part of it, no doubt. I think Mahomes is involved in there too because, like, of the way he's playing and how good he is. He's affected the 49ers. I think Rodgers looks at him and he's like, wait, Brady's got these guys and I got this young guy who's tearing the league on fire. I was the freak who threw lasers everywhere, and he's got talent around him, so that puts more pressure on him too, or, it puts more pressure on the situation. But, yeah, I agree. I think you're right. I mean, I think you can look at the 49ers, the Russell Wilson situation, and Green Bay and go, there's certainly a Brady effect, a Mahomes effect that has ruffled the feathers of the quarterback, the organization, or whatever, or both. And I think it is real. I'm with you there.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.